Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects the child with regards to development in the following areas: communication, social interaction, behavior, and also the sensory development aspect of it. Regarding communication, children with autism tend to have difficulties with speech, meaning that they may not develop speech or they develop speech later. And when I say speech, I mean being able to say sounds. And they could also have difficulties with language. Language is being able to put together words into a sentence. And then they may also repeat what you say. When they repeat what you're saying, it's basically called echolalia. In instances when you're asking a child a question, they're supposed to answer you, but a child with autism, let's say, for instance, you say, "What's your name?" Then the child says, "What's your name?" Then that's what is called echolalia, meaning they don't understand that you're asking a question. They also have difficulties with understanding other people's perspective. When I say perspective, maybe things like a joke, they may take it literal in that sense that you are not able to make jokes with them. And that happens especially to those who already have language and those who are called that they are Asperger's. But anyway, we'll get to that later. So that is the communication part of it: delayed speech, language, difficulties with understanding other people's perspective, and the tendency to repeat what other people say, which is echolalia. And then there's problems with social interaction. When I say the problems with social interaction, I basically mean difficulties with being able to play with other children. They like to be in isolation. They may also struggle with being like in a social setting. The other thing that they struggle with is restricted repetitive behavior. Restricted repetitive behavior means that they may have, things like they would like to do the same thing, maybe over and over again. Things like routine, basically. They like to follow routine. They're not flexible. If the child is used to the fact that they stay in your house, when you visit with them, it might be a problem because they're not used to that particular environment. They may also have tendencies to play with their fingers, where they literally like flapping their hands, or they literally flicking their fingers, or they are staring into their fingers for a very long time. And they may struggle to play, meaning that they don't understand that toys are meant for playing. If a car, it's a car, like you're supposed to move a car, they may have a tendency to just line up cars instead of playing functionally with a car. And the other thing with their restricted repetitive behavior is where they may have, that thing of liking the same thing, and not being flexible in that sense, and they like things to be in a particular order, if I may put it. They also may present with sensory difficulties, and sensory in the sense that things may sound very loud for them, where they hear or they perceive sound very loud, or that's called that they are hypersensitive. Or hypersensitive is where they're not able to perceive it in such a way that they end up being the ones that make too much noise, where they have the volume very loud. I found that with my son, that he always has to have the iPad loud, and when we tell him it's making noise, he doesn't want to reduce the noise. But if it's me who's making noise, then he covers his ears. So you'll find that with a lot of children living with autism, they tend to cover their ears. It's actually in response to sound. And we also taught that their senses, basically, they perceive things differently. From taste, where they end up liking to eat food of a certain flavor or texture. They may struggle to eat other flavors because maybe they want things to be bland, or they may like very spicy things, so each child will differ. Again, they may have problems with okay, the one, it was, I said hearing, which means they perceive the sound to be loud. And the other one was taste. I'm also thinking what other senses. Touch. They may don't not like to be hugged because the sensation of being hugged, or even the whole sensation of putting particular textures of clothing, it may feel not so nice for them, in the sense that they may prefer to wear certain clothing where, like, maybe something that is made out of wool can be a little bit rough on their skin. It's just how they perceive it. Or they are those kids who would like to walk barefooted. We could have other behaviors, or if I may put it, characteristics, or things like, hyperactivity. You may find that children with autism also have ADHD, which means it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. They may also be OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where they obsess about something. They may also like, cleanliness. They dislike anything that's got dirt on it, or they may have that excessive need to always wash their hands. So those are the other things that may coexist with autism.